Hello there, Taurus. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the month of August. I am breaking it down into two parts. So first we'll look at August 1st through the 15th, and then after that we'll look at the 16th through the end of the month. So let's just get jumping in on the first half, right? The first thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about your environment, and your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually it's home, but not always. You may want to keep your mind a little bit open about where I could be talking about here. So what we have going on with the environment is it is turning out to be a place that you're not able to get the things accomplished that you want to get accomplished there. There's definitely you definitely have some very specific goals that you want to accomplish either with that environment or in that environment, that it looks to me like instead of actually accomplishing those things, things are going backwards instead of forwards. Next thing that I'm looking at least during this time frame, next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings. And when we're looking at subconscious leanings, it looks to me like there is really, I gotta say, Taurus, I feel like there's a situation where somebody is having a problem with money. For some of them, for some of you guys, it is going to be you that you're having the problem with the money, and the subconscious is really working on, okay, how do I make this better? How do I find a resolution for this? How do I move forward with this? For others of you, I think that your subconscious is more so worried about somebody else having a problem with money, and you're wondering and working on what can I do to help that person so that they can find a solution or a resolution to their situation that would be permanent and long lasting. Next thing I'm looking at here talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. So whenever it comes to learning style, I do think that you are really doing some research or looking in some places, asking some questions that mostly people don't ask, or looking in areas for things that mostly people don't look. So I think that you're really thinking outside of the box now, Taurus, whenever it comes to learning new information. As far as your communication style, I do think that you are limiting who you're communicating to during this time frame. And it comes up to me as there are certain things that you are only sharing with somebody who has a need to know that thing. Not everybody has full access to all the information that you have right now. And you're making sure that only the people that you want to know the truth about what's going on with you or around you, only those people that you choose are let into that information. Next thing I'm looking at does talk to me about work right now. What's going on here? It looks to me like you may be going through a period when it comes to work that is just rest. I don't see a lot of action here. I do see a lot of thought going on around work. So this could be thought about how to get more work. This could be thought about, do I want to change my career? But there's definitely a thought about work, and I'm not seeing a whole lot actually happening that we would consider work during this time frame. Next thing I'm looking at does talk to me about that part of your personality, which is growing or expanding right now. You do have some choices in front of you, Taurus, and you've got a lot of different areas where you have choices in, and you really don't have a bad choice here with these decisions. So whatever you decide is going to be fine. They're all going to be good decisions, all right? Now, next thing I'm looking at talks to me about something that you stand for. So Taurus, what we have showing up here is a card that tells me that for some of you, you've actually, you're standing up for somebody who has some psychic abilities and who isn't afraid to just kind of be out there with those, you know, to let the world know that, yes, I operate in those psychic abilities. I have those. I use those. For others of you, I think that you may be learning about something that's mystical or esoteric, and I don't think that you're afraid to let people know that you're learning about this. And so when somebody has asked you, you know, they've either complained to you about this other person or about yourself, or they've asked you to explain it, or, maybe they even are confronting you over this situation, whatever it is. And it seems to me that, after you have defended this situation, after you have explained this situation, I think the other person comes away with the idea that that you are getting into this mystical stuff um, as a way of sort of paying somebody back for something. So you're really learning this new stuff that's in this area as a way to pay somebody back for something that they have done for you. And as far as if you're defending somebody else who's just really out there with their natural mysticism, I think that this person is feeling like you're defending this other person because they've done some things that really have helped you along the way. So this could be that, you have a psychic reader that you go to regularly, or you have a Reiki healer, or you have somebody, who knows how to manipulate energy in whatever way, whether it's shamanistic or whatever, and, you're defending that person. So I'm getting two stories on a couple of these cards for you guys this month, this part of this month, and that is, on this part, it's either you that's really studying this and looking into this deeply, or you're defending somebody who is just really out there, in the public eye with their own mysticism and their own version of spirituality. Okay, so let's move on. Next thing that we're looking at, Taurus, is the lesson or experience of this time frame. It does look like things are tight financially. That kind of came up before. So it does look like things are tight financially for you and for your family, or maybe for a family member that you're worried about. But so things are tight financially, and I think part of the reason that things are tight financially is because you are trying to work something out um, with somebody who is a representative of big government or a big company, and they are being they're not being very flexible, let's say it like that. They're not being very flexible, okay? And I think it looks like to me that I feel like you guys may not be bringing in enough finances to make yourself feel very comfortable right now. And so that is just kind of adding to this whole situation. Remember, we saw it was slow at work too, so this whole thing could be really coming down to, this time frame really could be coming into a crunch point with finances with the things that I'm seeing on the table here. Now, finances isn't everything that's going on here, but I think that it's definitely heavily on your mind during this time frame. Once we get to the end of this time frame, we have a really great card coming up for you. This is a card that says that you've been sort of limiting or restricting yourself without even realizing that you were doing that. And now you are turning loose of that limitation or restriction and allowing yourself to make forward progress here. So I really like seeing that. After the other stuff I saw in this read, I really like seeing that, because that tells me that this is like that turnaround point where something snaps and things start turning to go into a different direction. So we like seeing that, don't we, Taurus? All right, so thank you guys for being here. I'll be back in just a couple of seconds, and we will look at the second half of August for you. Thank you for sticking around, Taurus. Let's just jump right into the second part of August. First of all, looking at your environment. Excuse me. So once again, someplace where you have energy or effort invested, probably home, but doesn't have to be. And what I'm seeing is that there is something that is coming to an end about the environment that you've been in. And this is something that has been a long-term source of tension or debate that is finally coming to an end in your environment. So this is a good thing that it's coming to an end with it being a long-term source of tension or debate. Next thing that we have showing up for you, Taurus, is what's on your subconscious mind. And there is some kind of sadness or heartache that your subconscious is really working through, or maybe even worried that you're going to have this heartache. With it being on your subconscious mind, I'm not exactly sure that anything has happened to give you a heartache yet. It could be, but it also could be very much that you're just still working on the idea of what if, and, sort of creating something where there wouldn't have to be that. So you want to keep in mind, if you find yourself kind of going back to thoughts that are not happy ones, that you want to sort of turn those in a different direction, or at least back those off a little bit so that you're not actually creating this in your reality. All right, now the next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. I do think, Taurus, that a lot of you could be taking the time to learn about some things that are more natural ways of healing than maybe what you're being offered for a particular thing, or maybe what somebody in your sphere of influence is being offered, or maybe it's just something that fascinates you. But I feel like you are definitely learning about more natural ways to heal the body and heal the mind, heal the soul. Next thing is your communication style. I do think there is a lot of communication going on about money. You may be negotiating some type of contract or working out some financial goals with a financial planner. You may be talking to an accountant. You may just be doing a lot of transactions where you're having to set a rate, doing contracts, estimates, that type of thing as well. Okay. Next thing I'm looking at does talk to me about work. It looks to me, Taurus, like things are coming into a place where there's a little bit more ease at work. There's a little bit more flow happening at work than what we saw in the last time frame. So things are starting to look up in that area. We like to see that. Now, the next thing that I have coming up talks to me about that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now. I think that you are starting to really feel some energy and get fired up about different projects or situations in your life, and starting to take some really spontaneous and happiness-making action in those directions. Now, the next thing I'm looking at does talk about something that you stand for or that you defend, and then we're going to look at how that person that you have stood up to or that you've defended this thing to, how they feel about the situation and about you after that interaction. So what you're standing up for or defending is that there was something, someone, or some situation that you used to really enjoy, and now you're finding that you could kind of take it or leave it at this point. And so the person who has asked you about this or confronted you about this is feeling like, okay, well, that seems like a lot of drama. I'm just going to mind my business over here and stay out of that. Okay. Now, the next thing that we have coming up talks to me about that lesson or experience that you're having as you go through this particular life cycle. And this does talk, once again, really about learning something, learning new information that has to do with the supernatural or the metaphysical, really digging in for that information, doing some research on it in a more serious way, in a more focused way. All right, maybe even taking classes or, reading blogs, or just, literally seeking out consciously information about this. As you are doing this, we have you really, it's almost like, it looks to me like somebody's trying to distract you or pull you away from that. They're basically trying to run over your boundaries here. And I think that you are doing a pretty good job of keeping your boundaries up and saying, you know what, no, I'm interested in this. I'm going to check it out. Cool your jets over there, buddy. And so also going on here is we do see somebody in your sphere of influence who is generally not a very happy person, at least in this time frame. Like normally they might be, but right now we see them really not being very happy. And I think that they are expressing their feelings to you. For some of you, Taurus, they're not so happy with you, but for others of you, this is somebody who they're just unhappy about some things going on around them, and they may be actually using you as a sounding board to help them figure out what's the best solution for this situation. Ironically, they may actually be looking for your esoteric or mystical opinion on this. How do you like that? And then once we get up to the end of this month, we do see you coming into a situation where you're putting some limits and restrictions on yourself through your own thinking, but you're not really realizing just yet that you are doing that. So if you find yourself at the end of the month in a situation where you don't really know how to move forward with that, then you may want to try looking at that from some different perspectives or with more objectivity. Because once you do that, then the solution will start to seem pretty plain in front of you. Okay? Thank you guys very much, Taurus, for being here. I do appreciate all your wonderful support. I am continuing my contest once again in August. So those of you who comment on any of my videos, every time you comment one time on one of the videos, your name will be put in to be drawn from into a drawing for a prize of your choice. There's going to be a goodie bag and choices of some of my services as the prize, and so whoever wins will get to choose which one. But anyway, you get to enter just by commenting on my videos, and you can comment on as many of my videos as you want to. I only enter you into the contest for one comment per video, so no need to spam it with like 20 comments on one video, just one comment per video. But I do a lot of videos, guys. There's room for a lot of comments if you really want to stack the odds in your favor. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting this channel and me. Thank you to those of you who are purchasing live readings and live Reiki sessions. It's because of all your support that I'm able to do what I love to do for a living. So thank you very much. Everyone have a fantastic month. Peace out.